Hey there, nobody. This is another. I started the stream last minute, so nobody knows to show up yet. But I'll probably be here in a few minutes. Try not to say anything too interesting until then. Let's see. Let me open up Studio. Yeah, I don't know. No, if I start saying stuff, then let's see. There's a new. Let's see. What was it called? Yeah, no, my desk is in a new place. Hey there, Squid Stick. How's it going? Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, I've moved my desk, or actually I've assembled my desk, so now I actually have a desk. I even have three monitors now. So when I jump between, um, hey there, Brooklyn. How's it going? Yeah, but when I jump between VS Code and Studio now, it's going to be you know, it actually won't be a change on my end. I'll just be looking at different screens. So that's kind of nice. But yeah, you know, for the most part, I'm just working. Yeah, no, I've been using my time to deal with some boring stuff, namely um, getting the multiple power equipping stuff to work and to add built-in replication for these kind of things. Now, that isn't necessarily anything too visual, but I'm about to test out the replication. I have tested out the, what's it called? Hmm, I think I forgot to do something. Module code did not return exactly. Wonder what that's about. I also refactored the effects area to make it a little bit more for replication because instead of trying to replicate entire powers, I'm just replicating the effect they're having, such as shooting a projectile, making a sound, adding a trail, that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing so far. Let me. Okay, so now we've connected. Let's see how this all looks. Yeah, it might very much error. Oh, also I set up a logging thing, which I think is pretty cool. Basically, client power. Okay, so here's a problem. I moved the power assets stuff away from uh, I moved the power assets back to the shared area as part of the replication stuff, and so now I need to fix that. Yeah, but for the most part, it's going pretty well, I think. Okay. Hey there, Eric. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, sorry that I didn't appear yesterday. I needed I needed some time to focus on both doing some just boring debugging, and also, it's good to have a day off every once in a while. But yeah, so now we're back at it. Yeah, and hopefully this might be the last power thing we do in terms of just compatibility. I might start working on the UI a little bit more in terms of actually hooking up the different inputs. But like the infrastructure around the around it all, that might be let's see. Um, okay, so let's okay. So because I'm doing server side validation of what's it called? Because I'm doing server side hit validation, I ended up having to disconnect a lot of the client side stuff, which probably for the best. That way, it should make actually hacking things a little bit more tough. It's not impossible, of course, but the dream is that you know you would never have. I'd be able to set various sanity checks to prevent these things from really causing trouble. Yeah, though. Let's see. So, wait. All right. So now I'm just okay. So where's the error in this page? There you are. Okay. So what is this? Oh, I just accidentally added this twice. Okay. That's interesting. There. Okay. Here's this error. Effect library. Projectile data. I'm gonna make it fire bullet. Um, let's update this accordingly. And then yeah, remove that. All right, so I think this should have everything behaving. Oh, one cool thing. I ended up writing up this thing right here, which is how there's an output. Um, the problem with the output is that it will start clearing itself after about 5,000 lines or so. And so what I did was I wrote a little local way to store extra data. And yeah, and then just hold on to it and that helped me actually solve a few problems earlier. This leads to a benefit where if I want, I can sort of leave the output for very important stuff and then just use this as a kind of very dense log of everything that's happening. And also, as a bonus, because it's a custom thing, I can actually have it switch off entirely in the live game. And so, you won't be spamming a bunch of print statements all the time, which is nice. But yeah, so that's pretty good. Yeah, all right, so why is that not? It should be able to find projectile data. So, oh, it's because there's okay, so here's how the projectiles are going to work. Basically, hey, thank you, Arkham Noob. Welcome back. Good to see you again. The let's see. So I would say that. So here's how the projectile system works. Um, here, it exists to solve this specific problem, which is projectiles do not replicate cleanly. If you shoot a bullet on the server side, it'll be very choppy moving through client space because it'll only be replicating every little bit. It'll often feel slow. It'll be like it's going through water or something. And I think that, and there's just a lot of issues with it. It just doesn't look good. Um, Now, on the flip side, you have another issue, whereas if you draw it on the client, that's great. But whenever you're shooting projectile, usually you're shooting another player. And so whatever you do on your client, you have to then share with their client. And so you have to send it to the server, which will then send it back to them. And the problem is, though, if you say, "Oh yeah, I totally shot this person," and then tell the server to go kill them, that's something that's very easy to exploit. You know, that is very easy. And so what I've done here is I have taken the code for the bullet simulation and shared it across the client and the server. So what happens is that when you fire a gun on the client, it actually will go and send all of the data about where you fired it from, what the velocity, all that stuff, so that it can pretty closely recreate it on the server side. Then it'll render it on the client side, as well as send that data to the other clients so that they can render it too. But then only on the server side will it actually do stuff like hit detection. And so, yeah, it's pretty good, and I am pretty happy with it. I don't know. I haven't tested it too much yet, obviously, since it's I'm in studio. This is very much a multiplayer thing, and I don't like booting up the multiplayer server because that slows things down a lot. But from what I can tell, the system is pretty resilient. And also, one thing I've been doing now for network stuff is I've been sanitizing the inputs. For example, technically, every time you can send anything through a remote event. And so I've been doing stuff like, checking that. I'm going to do a very simple thing, which is if there is an effect being done, it can only be sent by it can only be applied to the character that the player sent it to. So that means that gone are the days where another player can break your save data, you know? Like that is something that's very exciting. And industry standard. I really should have been doing this a long time ago, but live and learn. And so there, the data flow is a lot cleaner. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that's all turning out. Let's see yeah, so yeah, what I do is the difference between a reliable and an unreliable event is that an unreliable event exists solely to what's the phrase? Oh yeah, an unreliable event exists solely to send the visual stuff. But it's a lot less bandwidth heavy, so you can send a ton of unreliable events per second. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using a reliable event to tell the server about the bullet being fired, but then use an unreliable event to send that data out to everyone else. So that'll be nice. Yeah, I think that in terms of Superhero Life 2 with my name all over it, it is because the original save data for Superhero Life 2 was just my save data. Like I just made all the characters and then copied it. And yeah, I guess I put my name in some places and forgot about it. Um, but yeah, an unreliable event. Yeah, it happens. Um, let's see. Where am I doing projectiles at? There you are. Okay, so work util. Oh, wait, did I? Okay, so multiple mistakes were made in setting this up, but I think I've caught them all. Yeah, I'm doing a few interesting things with the networking, but the goal is that it should allow for all the powers to feel very uh, responsive for the most part, as well as be safe to, be difficult to hack, as well as allow me to more easily create new powers. Now, creating new effects, like adding like creating new effects such as sound effects and all that stuff, that could be a little bit more of a headache. Um, but luckily, I only need to implement it once. Like the first time I implement a particle emitter, that would take like a day, well, maybe not a day, maybe a few hours. But then the second time I implement it, it'll take literally like 10 minutes. Like it's oftentimes when it comes to making these games, you give yourself more of a headache now to save yourself more of a headache later. Um, okay, so there's one. Check that out. Okay, so you can. Doesn't seem like it's playing the animations. Wonder what that's about. I wonder if that's because of how that might be because I accidentally commented it out without realizing it. So okay, so on equip, okay, so it gets the matching animations. Hmm. Anyway, but the cool thing is that it should, in theory, I should be able to see on the server, and yeah, I am in fact holding those guns, which if if I, since originally stuff was made on the client, the fact that those are able to just sort of line up is quite nice. Um, but yeah, the now to figure out why the animation data isn't firing. Okay, so animation data fire. Okay, let's see what's going on here. So fired animation data. Well, then let's see what kind of animation data we fired. Okay, so let's now go back to logs. So this would be a client-side animation data. Um, Fired animation data. Okay, so claimed it fired it 13 times. Let's flesh this out a bit more. Okay, so animation data, fired animation data, uh, data.animation.name. Um, okay, so then log clean up nation data. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's just see what this looks like. Okay, we're gonna load this out. Hey there, Zone. How's it going? Glad to hear y'all are having a good time. Lemon Productions asks, from the revamp, how many powers are we able to equip at the same time? So right now, there isn't so much a set limit on powers, so much as there's a set limit on um, areas of input. For instance, let's see, a gun and a sword obviously only have two hands, and so you know, I'm not going to be doing like a Zorro holding the sword in your mouth kind of thing. That's a little bit out of scope. And so if you have, say, multiple powers that are handheld ones, you would of course be limited by how many hands you have. However, if you have a bunch of powers that aren't necessarily against each other, for example, invisibility, super speed, force field, and flight. Well, actually, super speed and flight would get in each other's way. But that's basically what I've been working on to figure out exactly what time, in what circumstances, different powers would be able to equip. And so you could have invisibility, super speed, super jump, uh, like force fields, healing, all of them enabled at the exact same time. Like, but you know, but try to hold three swords and no, you know, like that. And that's the plan essentially. And it's pretty flexible if we actually look at how it's implemented. The way that the powers work in the game is they're implemented like this, where every single power is basically said like, okay, we have these requirements for equipping it. You have to have either a primary action or a secondary action available, which in this case would be like right mouse button or left mouse button, or right hand, left hand. And it is mandatory that we have one of these somewhere. Um, and then you have different triggers, which are going to be set up. I haven't hooked up the triggers yet, but that's the idea. And then in the actual power controller, what it'll do is every time you try to equip something, it'll update it and run all the logic again. And it will try to make it so that whenever you equip a new power, any powers that would make it invalid get unequipped. So, for example, say that you try to equip a third sword, the oldest hand equipped thing you have would then get removed. And that, yeah, and so it leads to some interesting, functionality where if you check out this, like I can equip a sword, I can equip a gun. Um, if I remove the sword, it puts the gun in the other hand. If I re-equip the sword, it brings that to the other hand. Remove the gun, takes the sword, and so like it can handle the logic pretty well, I feel. Um, but yeah, there's also room for potential combos. Like if you're running, say you're running with the sword, and you like do like a jump and a click. I now have the ability to have that be its own special attack, you know? Because in this kind of game, especially considering how a lot of people will be mobile users, we have to use combos to trigger certain attacks because there's just there aren't enough ways to provide input into a mobile device. And so we'll be having those dynamic combos. And like with the equip system, the combos are going to be first come, first serve in a sense, or I guess last come, first serve, where if you have a new item that has a special type of event, it will say, okay, this specific event running plus right click, that goes to this power. And so the goal is that you will always have a functional action attack set, no matter what powers you have equipped. But there's always going to be limitations, of course. But yeah, the so that's what that's been up to. I am understanding though that it looks like the problem I'm having with the melee powers. Okay, so let's look up animation data. Okay, so does it ever call the animation data for the idle animation? No, it looks like it does not. Okay, so in that case, that's probably a clue. Why does the idle animation not get called? Actually, let's just add a, I'm just going to start adding a different logs. Okay, so log unequip. Okay, so we're going to get to see in real time um, if things are being called. Actually, not in real time. Well, we could see it in real time if we wanted to. Um, we're going to see retroactively, okay, did idle ever get called? And if so, then we know that the issue is within idle, and that's why the animation isn't working anymore. Um, but yeah, so that's the current situation. Okay, so unequip. Okay, so log unequip idle. I am very happy with how this is all fleshing out, though. That's very nice. The question is, the one worry I have with the current system is that it has, I wouldn't say a lot of duplicate code. Well, it has more code than that could be considered duplicate because all of them have like small tweaks. So it's not literally just like me copying and pasting the same code a bunch of times, but like I haven't necessarily solved the problem enough to know how I can safely constrain it into a more standardized, easily added function. For example, like in the replication stuff, I have this entire caching system uh, that, basically when you want to remove a handle, you can send that message. And like this code right here is run a bunch of different times. And I probably will make this a function because this code is identical across multiple different areas. However, this code up here, it's like 70% similar. And that's the tough part because technically all these assertions are specific to this one. And but it's very similar. And that's what makes me feel like, oh, if I understood this problem better, I'd find a way to make this easier to deploy. But also like that makes it inflexible to future changes. And I want to be able to change it more in the future. And so it's just that's something I'm a little bit worried about. But it's not necessarily the end of the world. It's just a growing concern. Um, but I feel like it might be necessary. And so long as this system does not overscope insanely, it won't become a huge problem. And even like if it overscopes, it's less pivot resilient than other systems. But yeah. So let's see. Did I get I didn't get any of the flight actions in there. Um, okay. Okay, so log. Okay. I'm also going to add the cleanups. Okay. All right. Will spawn protection be added? Like maybe. I mean, like I think having people spawn in their apartments might make the most sense. I don't know. Definitely having them spawn in the middle of the field doesn't seem like it makes sense anymore. Um, I don't know. I don't think the map's too big that like spawning in your apartment would be the end of the world. I think that though I don't want it to become too long a sequence. Like maybe like you could spawn in a nearby alley or something or at the hospital or I don't know. there's there are decisions I need to make in that area, but I don't want to put just like a force field necessarily. I'd rather just get you away from the person who immediately killed you, you know? Like the if there isn't a single place for spawning, I don't think spawn killing is as big of a problem. Um, you know, because you can't like camp out in one spot when they could spawn at one of 20, you know? Um, but yeah, just got to figure that out. Okay, so why is it not? Okay, so let's equip handgun. So it's just not equipping idle. Hold on. This might be due to the animation on finish invoke stuff not firing. Yeah, that's it. Okay, you can see here. I needed to have it so that it does cleanup after it does this, but I didn't. So let's try that again. This should fix it. You see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, because it's like an easily searchable thing, I can actually like, go through and just much more easily determine, like, okay, what's happening at every sector of it. But yeah, so let's see, what was it? All right, so now, yay, okay, we have idle animations again. But yeah, anyway, so that's how that's going. Um, I feel like flight should almost not even be like a function, you know? Hmm. Decisions, decisions. Well, what am I doing? So I've started really liking this cleanup function pattern where, because it allows me to make sure that stuff fires in a certain order, as well as prevents duplicate cleanups. So that's nice. Is alive false, a destroy. Yeah, it also allows me to do stuff like, mention, oh yeah, okay, cleanup move. Okay, so then all I gotta do is set up this here, and that should work. Ah, okay. Well, congratulations on your new role as Goat Man. Remember, with great power comes great responsibility. You know, or y'all hate how every single time they do a Spider-Man movie now, they refuse to say the best line ever. They try to make like a special version of it. It's exhausting. Worst one was the Madam Web one, where it's like that one was convoluted. It's like just you reuse it, reuse it. What? Why are y'all avoiding this? Can you imagine if like any other franchise did this? Like if when see what are some other remakes? Like what if like in the Star Trek remakes they just changed Spock's name and then never explained it? Like it's just like what are you doing? It's a good line. Eh, exhausting. Yeah, that was it, Brooklyn. Oh, it's like, uh, it's like, is it a rights thing? No, it's not because it's still Sony. Maybe they had it like in their contract that every time they say that line, you have to like pay Sam Raimi $1 million. Like I don't know. It's just it's such a horrible like also like if you can't say the line, don't try to say it, you know? Like they just don't say it. Like don't say anything even close to it. Oh well. Exactly, split stick. Well, that's the problem. They're trying hard-ish, but not hard enough. If they were trying too hard, they'd just say it, you know? Like this is them putting in the effort to do a homage, an homage to the original, um, but like not enough to actually do it well, you know? Like by all means, go all out on this. Don't cut don't do budget savings on your script. Like uh, Zone, that is not a okay, that no, Zone. That is not a valid critique of the show. 10 minutes. There are many valid critiques to the show, Velma. Yeah, though yeah, actually, probably that show sucked. What I don't get is it seemed like it's not very often that like you see someone who seems to actively hate the show they're remaking, you know? Like even like the Halo show, while they were like, oh, we're not going to play the games. Like it didn't seem like they hated them, you know? It seemed like they were a bit arrogant about it, but yeah. Uh, he did not like that they race swapped Shaggy, and I told him that that is not a valid complaint for the show. Honestly, like here's my hope for Zone. You can tell he's like on a 4chan board or two, and I'm hoping that we can help him. We can show him when stuff is appropriate, when stuff is not appropriate, and guide him on a better path. But that does not mean allowing for unacceptable behavior. So that's my hope for all of y'all that y'all use these things as learning opportunities. Um, but yeah, because at this point, like we are long past the days where canceling even makes sense. Like if you were to cancel every person who made a mistake now, there'd be no people left, you know? I don't even think it ever made sense really, but nowadays for like, you gotta really lower the bar. We gotta start swapping out 90% of the cancel situations with teachable moments, especially when people aren't adults, you know? If someone in their 40s says something really inappropriate, that's different than like someone who's a teenager, you know? So anyway. Yeah, that's yeah. We don't speak of yeah. Chris Terminator's just getting triggered by all of these horrible shows we're mentioning. Um, yeah, no, there are a lot of legitimate complaints, and I think that's what we should we should focus on. We should That's part of it. That's part of media literacy, understanding what complaints are valid and what complaints come from a place where you might not necessarily agree. Like, I'm sure that Zone was just parroting some like critique he saw on some like critical drinker-esque review of it, Like, and so he's just sort of repeating it. But what we got to appreciate is that the person who originally made that complaint and shared it with their audience, they're doing it because Shaggy being black is a bad thing. And then you got to stop for a moment and think, okay, well, why is that? And then you realize, oh, it's because that person does not like black people. And then you're like, oh, okay, this is not a valid critique of the show. Like, yeah, it's anyway. I don't know. I pray for a world of higher media literacy. Yeah, yeah, no. I think going back to the time not knowing a critical drinker would be ideal. Oh, I saw the Darth Plagueis thing. Why did they introduce him like that? Like, I'm not even against them introducing him, but they should do like the Snoke entrance, where like they're in just some evil chamber, You know, like what's why is he just doing? It's odd. Mm, yeah, no, yeah. That's the thing. Like here, that's that. I'm glad that y'all understand that critical drinker is ridiculous, but the fact remains that all of critical drinkers' audience these days are like young teenage boys who need to sometimes have a 10-minute timeout in the chat, or adults who never matured past teenagers. So it's like, it, if there is if there is an audience which like we need to discuss this stuff about, yeah, it would be it'd be in this chat, which is obviously, since it's Roblox based, a younger audience. Okay, let's see. And I don't even think it's necessarily about like the YouTuber you like needs to 100% agree with all of your political and ethical views. But I think that there's a difference between an influencer or a channel that, has their own politics and, just, but like that's not the reason they're there, and versus one that's like the sole point of the channel is to recruit towards a specific culture or goal. Like Red Letter Media, I don't agree with all of the takes they have. Sometimes they come off the tiniest bit, just kind of going off their gut feeling and not really considering a more systemic view of certain talking points. But like for the most part, I don't think that the reason they make videos is to like convince people that feminism is bad, Like, so sometimes too, you can tell they're getting a little bit annoyed about like the diversity as like a promotional point for a movie. And I mean, I think I can kind of even agree to an extent that like when you use it just to market and not don't really write a good and don't write a good screenplay, but expect it to succeed despite that, like I can see why they'd find that annoying. And like I guess that's my point. Like with like a Red Letter Media, you you can tell that they're just people. Like you can tell that they're humans who have opinions. You don't agree with all of them, and that's fine. You don't got to agree with everything. But like then there are those plants, those almost like the people whose like existence is fueled by culture war stuff and like tricking impressionable people into having some really bad ideas. And yeah, I don't know. I really don't like those people, and I really hope that the more people who can get we can get out of that pipeline, the better. There's this phrase. I don't remember where I heard it, so hopefully it's a good place. But like lying to someone is easy. Convincing someone they were lied to, that's very difficult. But yeah, anyway. I think that so my goal is not to make this like a political channel either. You see, the politics I intend to bring into my channel are simple. It is that no matter what your identity is, so long as you're not hurting any other people, you should be able to live that to the fullest. Also, we need to spend more on high-speed rail and trains in general. Yeah, but that's the extent of it. I'm not really here to like convince anyone of certain economic ideals or tell you what religion you should have or anything. I just want, so long as you're nice to my friends who are people of color, my friends who are LGBTQ, and people on the spectrum. Considering I am, I'd really hope that y'all would be nice to people on the spectrum. Um, you know, I it's like, because if not, then why are you here? You're obviously okay with them to an extent. But yeah, like so long as you're nice to the people who society kind of weighs down on, that's about it. But yeah, it's crazy how I feel like that's becoming increasingly controversial of a statement. You know, like there's a small part of my mind that knows like if this gets posted on like some right wing subreddit, my life could just be kind of messed with for a while, you know? Like they could just, they could seek revenge. And like that's what's frustrating. And and I think but that also means that this is the time to say that kind of stuff, you know? Like, yeah, if we're at a point where saying you shouldn't be mean to each other is like a controversial political statement, then we all need to be making that statement while we can, because I don't know what stage is next. But yeah, anyway. Oh, sorry to hear that, Squid Stick. I hope that I never. I hope that I never am too rude to any of y'all. I am human, but I think for the most part, I try to approach y'all from a position of empathy because I've been dealing with internet community members since I was like 15 or 16, and you come to understand really quickly the patterns, like the things that they care about, and like how much weight an interaction has with them. Like Squid Stick. I don't know about you. I have been told I suck by many people in my life at times. It just happens. It's inevitable. You. Not everyone is always going to be your friend. Sometimes you just don't get along with people, and they say mean things to you. Um, I don't remember most of them, honestly. Like, I know it's happened, but I couldn't tell you like a time where specifically someone said, "Oh yeah, CJ, you suck," and like, it like stuck with me. But when a streamer says it, like when someone you look up to says it, that's like so much more damage, you know? And so I feel like that's why people who stream, people with an audience, have a much higher responsibility to control themselves and to be understanding and to try not to cause damage because, like, I think that, like, here's the thing. I can see you think about it, Squid Stick, and I can see you feel bad. I know that wasn't a good time, and I, I'm sure it was a misunderstanding. And I guess I kind of think that streamer um, should have been more responsible because what to them was just a little bit of venting at a time instead of sitting back and being empathetic. Um, they ended up just causing you a bad memory. And I don't know, it just made the world a little bit worse. And so I hope they're more responsible in the future. Oh, oh, okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Zone. Um, yeah. Well, welcome back. I'm glad that we are okay with this. I will say there is an interesting discussion to be had over whether changing a character's race, like when that's justified and when it's not. It's an interesting discussion. I don't think there's an all one right or one wrong answer. Like I think we can all agree. You could probably you could like making Spider-Man black is that's workable. We can do that. We've done that. It was a very fun movies. But then like making Black Panther white, all of a sudden it's like whoa, it's like there's a bunch of nuance to it, and obviously the internet doesn't handle nuance well. But I do think recasting Shaggy as black is an interesting call. Like on the one hand, um, I think that it's good that that it's not just for white people. I think that wasn't going to stand in a world where, even in the United States, I think it was like only like 50, 60% of the actual current population are white. And so like, you should have your media reflect your population. Like, I'm very much in favor of proportional representation. And so like something had to change. And the question is, who do you change and then to what? And um, I think the only real downside is recasting Shaggy specifically might have, just felt a bit weird because it kind of plays into a few stereotypes. And I don't know, it that show just didn't feel like it had a lot of thought into it, put into it. Personally, I think that. like since 2017 when I made Superhero Life 2, um, culture's changed. Uh, for example, I didn't really know trans people existed in 2017. But to me, the right move, I feel, would be to make a new character with you know, trans being in their identity, you know? And not to make it like over the top, you know, like I'm not gonna make like this is all they are, you know? But more like I feel like when you swap a character, it swapping a character who's in a majority group is a lot easier because a lot of majority group stuff is considered the default, you know? Like because like when somebody is like is white in a movie, nobody really thinks about it too much, you know? And I think that and that's how society works. Like, so, like people don't really judge me for being white that often, except for when I'm talking about race politics, which you know, fair. The so like but in most conversations, it kind of just goes unnoticed. And so I think that for the most part, that's why it's a lot easier to change from a white person to a person of color than you would, you know, going the inverse. You know, because if my character was changed to be like if me CJ Oyer was changed to be black in a story, that would probably add new context to my life. You know, rather than like necessarily change too much about me, you know, like it would add new lessons, new traits, whereas you know, kind of the default stuff would all still kind of be there to some extent. um, and I don't know, like at the end of the day, like I can only see things from so much point of view, but like I feel that it would be like in terms of making a character trans, I guess I go back and forth on, because on the one hand, it is something which I know people come to understand over time, and like I don't think you know, I don't know how much of it is environmental versus biological, but I do know that few people's first words were my gender is incorrect. You know, like that's something you kind of grow into, and so I think that you know I don't know it. I could totally see a world where like I don't know. It's tough because I, I I I guess thankfully a lot of the original characters aren't super fleshed out, so I can kind of do what I want. I guess the question is, would it be because I don't want it to come across as like pandering, you know? Like I don't want it to make it just sound like you know, oh yeah, it's just another unrelated trait. Because I know a lot of people in these groups really care about that identity, and I want it to be respected. Honestly, I wish Heroes was here. They yeah, they're a trans community member, and they would probably, you know, be able to say what they felt on the matter. And anyway, like for now, I think my default is make a new character that isn't just a stereotype, but that does contain, you know, representative traits. Um, and then in the meantime, just you know, don't go back and rewrite history unless you really know what you're doing. Like, because I don't want to end up like J.K. Rowling, you know? Like, I don't want to go back and be like, oh, actually, Albus Dumbledore was gay, and then like never once did it actually ever show up, you know? Or like pretending like Hermione was black. Like, no, she wasn't. Like, you know, we know. Why are you lying? You know, like it's like the so I don't know. There's got to be a way for a creator to iterate on the design of that character without it coming across as like dishonest, you know? Anyway, but yeah, I Zone, I will assure you that that is not how that word works in real life. So I recommend you never say it. Let's see. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's a lot of toxicity in the comic book world. Just especially on Discord. Um, I don't know the H word, and I don't think I want to know it either, unless it's heck, in which case I do know that word. Um, let's see. But yeah, this is part of the reason why the superhero life why the Nightcycle Discord server doesn't have audio spaces. Because as far as I can tell, the second that there isn't like chat logs of what you're saying, people immediately become awful. Like if you say something in text in the Nightcycle Discord and delete it, that'll still show up in the logs. We can still see that. Um, and so like I think there's a lot more accountability, and that leads to a lot less of a toxic place. Um, but yeah, so I don't think we're ever going to be turning on the audio for that. I am more open to turning on the audio for in-game stuff because I think Roblox has invested a lot more time and effort into like listening to the audio, and they store those audio logs, and like they actually have a moderation system. Like Roblox is a lot more in favor of figuring that stuff out. It's also like it being like 18 and up. That's also helpful. So like, that's a slightly different situation, I'd say. But yeah, at the end of the day, yeah. Yeah, no, that's the thing. Yeah, you're right. Like Squid Stick, like race swapping characters is just one of those like very nuanced, interesting things. Like I think we can all think of times where it worked. Like Nick Fury. Nick Fury being Samuel L. Jackson was an amazing upgrade. A plus, no notes, just better in every way, you know? But then on the other hand, like, let's see, what are some other examples even? So, I guess like turning I don't know. Does anyone have any examples? This is whatever. I don't watch enough movies. I'm too out of it. I'm too offline. Um, actually, that's probably not true. I am ranting about uh, movie casting. You can only be so offline when you talk about that on stream. But yeah, like what's another one? I guess Ghost in the Shell. Oh, actually, here's an interesting one. Turning Nick Fury black, everyone was okay with. Turning the Sorcerer Supreme white, or Tilda Swinton, I feel like she should be her own race, you know? Um, is that was actually kind of weird because on the one hand, the original Sorcerer Supreme was like an Asian stereotype. It was not good. And so they kind of stepped around it, but also like felt kind of weird, you know? Oh. Or like, what's that thing where like every time there's a character with red hair, they make them black? I don't know. I think it's just because red hair is not super common. And so like whenever they want to cast someone, they're like, well, we can't find any red hair people. There's only like a couple of them and they aren't and they're already in these other things. Um, and so they're like, and we need to add more black people to it. And so there's just this sort of like light bulb moment that happens again and again. And they're like, oh, this is how we're going to do it. The two birds, one stone. And anyway, it's just interesting. I don't even think that one's necessarily a bad thing so much as it's kind of funny. Um, but yeah, it's just, anyway, honestly, that's one thing that's kind of good about game development is that unless you have like voice acting, you don't really need to cast anyone for a character. And I think that makes it a bit easy. Um, oh yeah, no, trans people are pretty cool. At least compared to normal people. I'd say they are in general a little bit more. I don't know. I think something about having your identity shift that much just leads you to be a more introspective person, you know? And I kind of appreciate that. Also, for some reason, they're all very good programmers. Don't know what that's about. Um, but yeah, yeah. You can say nice friend zone. That is allowed. I don't know what else you had in mind, but yeah. Yeah, no, no. This is why this is how we win over. You know, both getting a bunch more high speed and just just rail throughout the country is we make it a the people who like trains will tell them like, well, hey, if you like trains, wait till you hear about trans, and they're like, oh my goodness, this is cool too. And then people who are like pro trans but don't know much about trains, we'll get them in that way. You know, we'll get two birds with one stone here. It'll be great. But yeah, yeah, we're good. This is how we get both very good intercity transit and human rights. Both both are important. One of them is probably more important than the other, admittedly. Um, Fighting the urge to say trains. Uh, the because it's ironic, but I like irony. Irony's fun. Uh, okay, will cheese be added? Maybe. We'll see. That'll be a stretch goal. You know, if we get 10 billion visits. Really? Dang. Let's see. I swear, at this point, Manhattan has more active construction going on in the digital world than they do in the real world. Like every other game makes Manhattan. But then meanwhile, actually, if you go there, like it takes 5 years to get a single apartment building built. Uh, yeah, I mean, it's an iconic location. I can understand people make it though. Yeah. The but yeah. So let's see. The util flight dot move. What? I feel like I was doing. I haven't been very productive for a while. This is what happens when I don't socialize. I just end up talking on stream and hanging out. It's like I need to get a healthy balance. Okay. Let's see. Let's uh let's see if I can figure out why I can no longer fly in the game. But yeah, like it's very possible. Okay, so in terms of the actual powers, we're probably going to be finishing up. Like, I want to keep on working on this later tonight. I'm not sure I'm going to be doing as long streams as I do as did before. I really did get a lot more done working offline, but I don't want to stop streaming. So I'm probably just going to stream for like an hour or two a day, and it'll be more of like showing stuff off and getting feedback kind of stuff rather than pure coding. Um, but yeah, so let's see. Um, what have I just witnessed here? Okay, so I have unequipped it. So now I equip it. Is it adding the flight stuff? Okay, power, best power data ID. Okay, wait, looks like I'm messing up the power data call here. So let's go back to But yeah, next week it's very possible that next weekend or next week we'll start doing the character customization again. I just need to figure out how to do um, character assets. Yeah, no, the like I want to find the balance of it, I think. It because I do like streaming. I like having this connection with the community. I like that y'all show up every day. That feels really nice. Um, Problem is that like I at the end of the day am an introvert, and also coding is hard enough without having to talk and present to an extent. I don't know. It I think it'll be something that'll become a lot more fun once we're more and less away from the coding. Because I think when I was building, genuinely building and coding, sorry, building and streaming, so much more fun, so much easier. People, a lot more visual. There's a lot more of discussion. Whereas, admittedly, like for the most part, y'all, when I'm doing code, there's not really a bunch that you can really say. Like you're like, oh yeah, you should actually be refactoring it to be this way. No, no, I don't. I know that's not how it works. Even if you knew how to code, which some of you do, um, it's very difficult to give coding advice in real time just looking at someone's screen. Um, you know, Especially when they've been doing it for 15 years. Usually, the low-hanging fruit are mostly resolved at that point. But yeah. Okay, so what else? You should add the ability to throw trains as a power. That actually would be fun. And actually, we might actually have that because of two things. The first one is, I want to have a train in a superhero life game. I don't know if it'll be three. I don't know if it'll be four. Might even be two if I can get like a subway thing going on. But like probably more three or four because the map has to be bigger to support that. But like in terms of actually creating, um, so because of that, and also the fact that with all these decorations, like the benches and flagpoles, we're going to have these be destructible, and then we're going to have telekinesis be the ability to pick up any of these destructible items and throw them at someone. And so I think that that will lead to some pretty awesome, um, you know, gameplay. So that'll be fun. Let's see. What was I doing? Oh yeah, I was fixing the issue with the power IDs not really printing correctly. Power controller service. Best. Okay, that should fix that. Okay. I will be adding food items eventually. I just don't know how I want them to interact with the weapon systems. Just being able to pick up stuff would be nice. Like, I don't know. Because on the one hand, like, I think it's probably easiest that just if you equip anything, any powers, it should just immediately make you drop whatever you're holding. But even then, I don't want to necessarily implement that before I have the power system more set up. Because right now, I can tell there are probably edge cases I haven't considered. Uh, we'll get to that eventually. Let's see. Okay, so called update. Huh. Okay, let's add some more logging to figure out what's going on. no powers. Okay, so no health, no humanoid. Okay. That's a table.concat. Okay, so let's. All right, so I'm just going to update the. Oh, so I. Oh, have I frozen? It looks like things are still moving all right, but you know, never be too sure. Hungry. Mhm. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so let's hand done. Equip, call to update, current powers, anti-gravity flight. Okay, so what's going on here? Why is it not? No, how do I get rid of this? Huh. Okay, so gotcha. Sounds good. Oh, looks like Eric. Looks like I missed your message. Um, actually, just I didn't really look at the chat for a while. Let's see the yeah the cheese sword. Honestly, with the amount of customization we're going to be doing for the powers, that is not impossible. Um, okay, the stream. Okay, so when you were doing the map and scaled or moved things, right, you showed up above the part. Is that a plugin? Could be useful for whatever I build in Roblox. Uh, Let me check. I think it is a plugin. It might just be, it might be the multi-part thing. Let's see. Hmm. Is there anything? I don't, if there is a plugin, I don't know if I have it available now. I can try to remember it though if you give me some more details. Um, let's see. Hmm, maybe, yeah. I mean, like, pool noodles are going to be a headache because if we were to add that because they're floppy, they're bendy, and you have to have an animation for that to do a physics simulation. It's a nightmare. Yeah, the yeah. So let's see. Power data apply. Okay, so okay, okay. So I think this should, I think this should work. Oh, okay. Eric, have you been building for a while? I'm pretty sure that's the addition to the new selector they added about 6 or 7 months ago. Um, so I think that should just be the in the vanilla Roblox. I don't know if that's not the case, then I'll be very confused because I don't think that's a plugin. I think that's just native behavior now. Um, gotcha. Well, it is new native behavior, Eric. So you should be able to use it, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Hey there, Gary. How's it going? My words per minute. It's 100 if I'm alone. It's like 90 if anyone watches me. Um, yeah, it's yeah, I can type pretty fast, but I'm like here's the thing when it comes to being a programmer. Almost all programmers can type faster than your average person by like a long shot. Um, Most programmers are at least 80 words per minute, if not, and you know the ones who like it just comes with the job, you know. Like when you're doing nothing but that all day, you build it up. Um, One thing I am hoping to do at some point is learn Vim, which is basically being able to do everything you want without ever touching a mouse. So that'd be pretty good. Okay, so let's see. What the heck is happening there? Because it's not even building it now. Hmm. Hmm. Let's see. Four. Okay, so we're just gonna add this little enhancement because I think that we are having a situation where it's just not um, where somehow it's getting removed from the power data. Because otherwise, I literally have no idea what could be causing uh, this to not work. Like I will be deeply confused. Why is it angry at me? Oh, okay, there it is. Okay. 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 So yeah, no, it should be logging that. Oh wait, I think I know what's happening. I disabled some of the logging. So let's actually update that so we can keep things a little bit simpler. Um, no, actually, it looks like I didn't disable that part. Okay, so either way, let's, yeah, let's see. Oh no, I made a mistake of not looking at the chat for a bit. Um, how much Riz do I have? I don't know. I feel like if you say that you have Riz, that is a low Riz move. So I don't know. It's a tough question. Yeah, yeah, no, I think that yeah, the you can if you really try, like if you really train at it, you can definitely get really fast at typing. And it sounds like, Gary, you are already faster than me. Uh, oh yeah, I got my furniture set behind me. So this furniture is actually came in the apartment. That actually this area back here, that's actually where our streams have been for the last week or so. I basically just flipped sides of the room. Um, yeah, the what changed is I now have an actual desk. It's a very nice desk, but yeah, so I have that set up. And yeah, my bed's right there. I really don't have too much furniture beyond that, but also like sort of putting a chair right there. It's not like there's a whole bunch of space. It's a studio apartment. I am a bit sad that I don't have a good wall for projecting, though. I have a projector, um, and I always loved using it, but there's no real good place for it, so no projection for me. Yeah, no, thankfully I'm not in NYC anymore. Yeah, I'm in Denver. Much nicer pricing. This studio apartment is 1,500 a month, which is still higher than most apartments when you grow up in the Midwest at least. But considering that it's right next to a train line, the apartment building itself is really nice. Um, you know, gigabit per second speed internet. I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah, so actually projecting on the ceiling is not out of the question. It just feels kind of janky, you know? Like it just feels like every time I prop up the projector, it's about to fall over. My projector's a bit top heavy. So I'm sure, that is the closest I will have to a workable solution. It's just like, do I really want to do that? It's kind of like, okay, like if you see back there, you see that cord right at the bottom of the sink? That is because the internet hole is way over there, and my desk is way over here. And when I use Wi-Fi, my megabits per second is like 50 or 60. And when I use that cord, it's like a gigabit. It's like literally like 20 times faster. But I have to have this stupid cord always visible. And like, I just know that at some point when my mom comes to visit, she will see that and she will judge me for it. She will be like, ugh. And like, and she'll be correct. It doesn't look good. And so yeah, that's just, something I got to work through. Um, and I feel like adding a projector that's facing the ceiling would be another one of those where it's just like technically it makes my life better, but at like a huge like visual cost, you know? Um, but yeah, project directly into my eyes. I have been considering rebuying a VR headset. Um, yeah, especially considering I have a decent amount of space now, so it would be pretty fun. Because like I don't have enough space really for any new furniture, but I do have enough space to have like a nice little VR area right there, you know? So that's pretty nice. Let's see, what is it? Okay, so here's the issue. For some reason, the power data are being removed. Okay, so the power data. Okay, so you see right here, it says right here. It says power data's. Well, actually, no, that's because I pressed unequip. Oh no, there's quip. Yeah, no, it's getting removed somewhere. So I need to figure out why that's happening. hold up. Hold up. It could, is this, I have an idea. It might be something stupid. Please, 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 please. Ah, no. I was thinking that maybe I just hadn't hooked up the ID right, but that does not seem to be the case. Where, genuinely, where is it? Table.remove. Okay, so we're just going to have these little checkpoints, I guess. Um, power data's 3. Power data's 1 or 2. And then self.powers can be power data's 1. All right. So let's see if we can figure out what's going on here. Ah, dang. Sorry to hear that. Oh, hey there, a person. How's it going? Let's see. So it's somewhere between 1 and 2. What the heck? Why is it not? Oh no. How is this going to be another stupid thing? It might be another stupid thing. I might literally have just never hooked it up. Flight. Uh, uh, Dang it. Yeah, it's a stupid thing. I forgot to wrap the power data as a. Okay, there it is. Figured it out. Yay. Okay. Okay. So I figured out the issue. So that, thank you, logging service. Once again, you've proven to be very helpful. Um, let's see. Glad to hear you're good, a person. Let's see. Okay. So let's give this a go. In theory, this should allow me to fly. In theory. Table overflow. That's interesting. What the heck? I've never even seen that error. Okay, so 227. Oh, it's because I somehow swapped out that. Oh, interesting. Okay, well, I don't even know how I made that typo, but it caused a very interesting error. So, yeah. All right, let's try this again. All right. Yeah, so, oh, dang. How do I make it so that it stops doing that? I know I hooked that up somewhere that like if you fly into a wall, um, you will it'll break. I don't want to do that anymore. Okay, I want that to be something we implement later. You know, that should just be a general like if you get knocked out, like if you run into something too quickly, just it should equip everything. You're like your weapon should go flying from your hands. You should ragdoll. You know, like it. Okay, so that's good. All right, so now let's try this. Okay, so I can select that. That's good. Okay, nice. All right. And yeah, that's pretty good. This is pretty cool. All right. So I think we've. Do you hear that? Is that does my PC share audio? It's playing footstep sounds. That is very funny. Huh. It's playing footstep sounds when I fly because it thinks I'm walking since I'm using the WASD keys. That is very funny. Okay. I guess it doesn't disable walking sounds when you use humanoid platform stand. It does when you do sit though. That's interesting. Okay, this might have to become one of the flying animations. It's just too good. Um, anyway, we'll see. Maybe we can have silly animations and props be like stuff that you get for like being on the streamer community, like just more like Easter eggs rather than full-on game additions. Okay, do a flip. Let's see what we can do. I don't know. We can't go upside down currently, so we might just have to try to cheese it. Yeah, flipping. Yeah. Nailed it. That's pretty cool. Um, okay, so let's make that little fix to the sound. Um, uh, it's not worth that. Almost breaking stuff. See, what are some ways to prevent it from playing? I guess I might just have to make the volume 0. Volume equals 0. Okay, so this will make it So that should fix that. Let's see. I do have the flight system set up to be a little more flexible. Like we can do other animations. We can have it add stuff long term. Like it really is meant to be like more of a, you know, improved system. Um, but yeah, you know, honestly, let's just. I'm just going to verify something that that flying works on. Um, yeah, that looks pretty good. Hello. It, yeah, it's funny how all of the map changes are fully on the client side. But yeah, but yeah, no, I mean like I like it. The system's really coming along. Um, I think for the most part, that's about as far as I want to go on stream. I'm probably just going to be hooking up the event system, but that's going to be a bit more of a headache to like think through. But then you know, I will probably start working on tomorrow. We'll probably get to see the either some new powers or character customization, I think. So yeah, that'll be pretty fun. Yeah, the yeah, I think maybe it'll be a blender day where we make new character assets. I don't know yet. I will probably because we still need to remake the assets in game. So I might do that beforehand just to yeah, stream's over for now. Yeah, it because like you know, I'm actually trying to get work done on it, and I only have so much time to do so. I wanna be more productive, and also you know a little bit socially drained. But it's been good, really good talking with you all. Uh, See you, Zone. See you, everybody. Thank you as always for stopping by, and yeah, peace.